You know, before there were thousands of different get off my lawn, grumpy old man jokes, before there was that movie, Grumpy Old Men, before all of that, there was the Dana Carvey character on Saturday Night Live, who was the all-time iconic, back in my day, grumpy old man. And that character launched 1,000 imitators.
In my day, we didn't have hair dryers. If you wanted to blow dry your hair, you stood outside during a hurricane. Your hair was dry, but you had a sharp piece of wood driven clear through your skull. And that's the way it was, and you liked it. You loved it. Whoopee, I'm a human head kebab. Now, we didn't have minoxidil and hair weaves. In my day, if your hair started falling out when you were 16, by 19, you were a bald freak. There was nothing you could do about it. Children would spit at you, and no woman would mate with you, so you couldn't pass on your disgusting baldness gene. You were a public menace, a chrome dome at age 20, and that's the way it was, and we liked it. We loved it. Hallelujah, I'm a bald freak. Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day. I have always thought that one of the great underappreciated things about Dana Carvey's grumpy old man character is that he's such a New Englander, right? I mean, he has he has a Maine accent, I'll just say it. For comparison purposes, I present to you the Republican governor of the great state of Maine.
I went to work at 11 years old. I became governor. It's not a big deal. Work doesn't hurt anybody.
I went to work at 11 years old. Back in my... That was Maine Governor Paul LePage defending his proposal to roll back Maine's child labor laws to worse than what they were back in my day. Paul LePage and the Maine Republicans really do want school kids working longer hours, later at night. They want to drop the limit on the maximum number of hours kids can work during school. And incidentally, they want kids to be working for less than minimum wage. The last time we covered this, we talked about how Maine got its child labor laws in the first place. Starting in the 1840s, the argument for restricting child labor, for stopping kids from working as much as adults could, was not just that kids were being exploited as a particularly powerless class of workers. The idea was that kids should be doing something else while adults were working, that kids, frankly, had something else to do, something else they were supposed to be doing. Kids were supposed to be learning. We decided as a country that kids should not be in factories. They were supposed to be in school. That was the argument for restricting child labor in the first place. It was all tied up with schooling. And so we have rules that say you've got to go to school. We have rules that say you can't work when you're supposed to be in school. We have as a basic American value that before this year I sort of thought was agreed upon. We sort of have as a basic American value the idea of school. American kids go to school. Or in Maine, we have the 2000s version of Dana Carvey.
I went to work at 11 years old. I became governor. It's not a big deal. Work doesn't hurt anybody.
In Michigan, I don't think they are trying to roll back the child labor laws there. But, you know, actually, it reminds me, somebody should check into that. I have not checked to see if Michigan Republicans are also trying to roll back child labor laws. I mean, you did see that there's a Republican state senator in Michigan who wants to mandate that foster children only be allowed to buy clothes from thrift stores. Yeah, that's a real thing. And if that is a real thing, we should probably check on whether Michigan Republicans are also against child labor laws. But in Michigan, I do know that the Republican governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, is due to give his major education address tomorrow. One of his big ideas for education this year is that his state will do away with the mandatory number of hours that kids need to be in school. He wants to do away with the minimum number of hours kids spend in their classrooms. In a preview of Governor Snyder's speech in the Detroit Free Press, Governor Snyder indicated that old idea of schooling, that old school idea of the way we think of school, that was designed for agrarian or heavy industrial societies. And now I guess we need a new approach that doesn't require kids to be in school for any specific amount of time. In Wisconsin, Republican Governor Scott Walker announced today that he would be giving a national address on education to a pro-vouchers group next month. Wisconsin already has a school voucher program. Mr. Walker has long promoted the idea of vouchers instead of public schools. A pilot program he pushed for in Milwaukee has been, technical term for it is a bummer. Kids in the program are performing the same or worse than kids in Milwaukee public schools. But of course, Milwaukee public schools are being starved to pay for it. Based on that performance, Mr. Walker is expected to announce two things. One, he wants to expand that awesome program statewide. And two, he wants the voucher schools that are run by private companies, private groups, to be exempt from any further state achievement testing. So when he expands the program and it fails statewide, the way it's failed in Milwaukee, we'll never know about it because there won't be any testing. But at least there will be less of those creepy, commie, pinko public schools around. And you'll like it.
In my day, we didn't have these thin latex condoms, so you could enjoy sexual pleasure. In my day, there was only one kind of condom. You took a rabbit skin and wrapped it around your privates and tied it off with a bungee cord. And you couldn't feel nothing. And half the time, you didn't even know if your partner was there. And we used the same one over and over again. Because we were ignorant morons. Just a bunch of hairless head kebabs standing around with rabbit skins on our dinks. And that's the way it was. And we liked it.
And we liked it. And now, I have to say goodnight and pause for a moment so that I'm not going directly from that into the Ed Show. Good night.